Hi guys, this is Night Fear. This is my second time trying to film this video. I was recording and my son came in and asked me a question, and I thought I paused it. Instead of pausing it, I stopped it, and anyway, so we're going to try to do this again. This is my July wrap-up. I read a total of 14 books in July. Most of those, actually, no, that's a lie. All of them were ebooks. So I'm going to have to show, or library books. So I'm going to have to show them to you on my Kindle because I have returned all but one of them. So yeah, and I'm not doing too good as far as doing the wrap up like I said I was going to try to do, as far as, you know, the library books I've read before I take them back. Well, I didn't do that, so I'm going to try really hard to do that this month. So now, the last time I tried to do this video, I didn't have all this stuff prepared. This time I have it prepared, and I've looked up all the books and have them on my Kindle, and so hopefully this will go okay. Alright, so the very first book of the 14 books was Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. And this was an absolutely awesome book. I've already reviewed this book. It is on my Readathon Fails, I think is what it's called. So I'll link that below if you're curious about what it's about. And I gave this book a 5. So it's a really, really good book. Highly recommend. The next book I read is Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. I did a buddy read with Dane from Dane Reads, and this book was awesome. I gave this book a 5, and it was amazing. This is about a old rock star. His name is, it's J-U-D-E, so I think that's Jude. And he likes to collect occult things. And so his assistant finds this ghost on auction, and they bid on him and they win the ghost. So the person selling the ghost ends up sending them the dead man's suit in a heart-shaped box. So the ghost the suit arrives, and things start to happen, and we find out the reason why the ghost was really sent to him. And it kind of goes on from there, and it's very creepy, and I mean, it's amazing. I really enjoyed it, like I said, and I'm definitely going to read some more books by Joe Hill, because I was really, really impressed with this book. And since I love Stephen King, I mean, hello, perfect for me. Okay, so the next one I read was, this is not going to let me, it's called A Beauty So Beastly. This was for the Retellathon, which I haven't done my wrap-up on that because I've been slacking, because I'm a slacker. And this is by Rochelle Workman. And this is about a girl who basically has had everything handed to her, and one day her parents disappear and things start changing. She starts like craving raw meat, and then she accuses her servant of stealing something, and her son shows up and claims that, you know, he's going to do anything to get his mother out of jail. And so she concocts this idea that he's going to replace his mother. And so in her head, she's like, you know, because he's like a nice guy. And so she's like, I'm going to make you just as beastly as I am, basically. And then the story goes on from there. And there's some twists and turns and things that you find out. Things are not exactly as they appear. And it's really good. I really enjoyed it, especially with it being a Beauty and the Beast retelling, because those are my favorite retellings, because that's my absolute favorite fairy tale. Now, the next one, and I gave that one a 4. The next one I read is Eve by Anna Carey. And I was curious, so I was looking at reviews on this one. And there were some not so nice reviews. And I had bought the next one in this series from Ollie's. It was really cheap. And so I wanted to read this one, and then so I could read that one and I could carry on with the series. And I still need to do that. But I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4. And basically, now guys, it's been a little while since I've read these, and I've read a lot of books, so I do not remember names. I'm just going to have to tell you basically what the story's about. And if you're curious, you know, it's on Goodreads or whatever. But so she is at this school, and she's getting ready to graduate, and she discovers that the school is not... Okay, so they're graduating, and then they're going to go across this bridge. Now, remind you, they're fenced in. This is the only place they've ever been, is this school, and it's just girls. They've been taught that boys are evil, that men are evil, and so they've been told that when they graduate, they're going to go across the bridge to this other building, and that they're going to be taught their skill, and then they're going to go out into the world, right? Well, she discovers that the other school is not what she thought, and so she ends up escaping. And that's kind of where it goes on from there, and she's running, and she meets this boy, and, you know, it just kind of carries on. It's very, very interesting. Like I said, I really actually enjoyed it. I don't know why. I mean, I can see that there are a few things that are, you know, a little touchy maybe, but I mean, I enjoyed it in the context of the story. I thought it worked. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed it. So I would recommend this. I don't know about the rest of them because I haven't read it yet, but I definitely enjoyed Eve. Okay, so then the next one that I read, and it's called Of Beast and Beauty, and it's by Stacy J. This is another Beauty and the Beast retelling that I read for Retell-a-thon. Because, hey, like I said, Beauty and the Beast is my favorite story, so of course, you know, the ones I'm going to read most are Beauty and the Beast. So anyway, this one kind of was a different take on it, and I gave this one a 5. So the Beauty, like I said, I can't remember her name, but the Beauty, basically what happened is they came to this planet from another planet, and they landed, and they were building this dome, and the planet was trying to help them, and it started changing some of them, and so they became the monstrous, which is the Beast. And this has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, and so some of the people are in this dome, and they have everything they need, and, you know, it's like the high society kind of thing. And then the monstrous, which are the people with the, they call it kind of, you know, deformities, but it's more like they've evolved to fit on the planet. But they are on the outside of the dome. And so it's about this girl, and she's blind, and she is the princess, and a monstrous gets captured, and they're each working with the other to do their own ends, and I'm not going to kind of go into it any further than that. Because it's interesting the way it plays out and what they learn about each other and things. But I would definitely, if you like Beauty and the Beast, this is a definite, an interesting little twist on it. And it's really, really good. I mean, just, it's amazing. I really enjoyed it. Okay, now the next one, oh, this is a good one. This one is The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan. And this one is an apocalyptic zombie book. And actually there's a series, I've read 3 of them. And then there's some like prequels and other different, you know, there's a couple other ones that I have not read yet. But I read the main 3. And this one is about a girl who's in a village. And this village is surrounded by fences. And the zombies, who they call the unconsecrated, are on the outside. And so her mother, her father went out, and her mother is holding hopes that her father will come back, but her father never comes back, and she's supposed to be watching her mother, and something happens, and it kind of goes on from there. And then they get, you know, the village gets invaded, and there's also these nun type people that are kind of, and they're sisters, so they're you know, and they are running things, and you find out a little bit about them and what they're doing. And so it's about her surviving after, you know, their village gets what do I want to say, invaded by these unconsecrated, and she has a couple people that are with her, and it's about where they go and what happens. And it's really good because people die, and people you don't think are going to die, and it's just really, it's interesting. Now, I did give it, like I said, a 5. The only problem I had with this is there is some insta-love kind of stuff, a little bit, and then there's a love triangle that I just didn't like, and she's very ungrateful about things. I didn't like that, but I mean, the rest of the story was okay, so I could overlook it. Kaylin actually read this one, and the second one. She didn't read the third one, and she liked these two. So, but I mean, I love zombie books, and apocalyptic books, you know, dystopian books. So, yeah, I was all for that. So, the next one I read is Once and Always by Judith McNaught. It's a romance, yes, I know. Let me just kind of, because I don't really remember this one too much. Well, fudge. Oh, there it is. Sorry, guys, I had to find the thing. Okay. It's about this girl, Victoria. Oh, that's right. Her family ends up getting, her mom and dad end up getting killed. Her and her sister are the only ones left. They live in America. But her relatives, her closest relatives, live in England. And so she goes to England, where she is to inherit this estate. And basically her cousin doesn't want her there. Her uncle wants her there. Yeah, her uncle wants her there. And, you know, and he's a distant cousin. And so it's about, because she and her sister go to some different place because her grandmother didn't care for her mother, and so she looks like her mother, and so she goes to one place, and then her sister goes to her grandmother's. So, and it's how all that plays out. And of course, you know, it's romance, so hello. But anyway, that's the cover of the book. That's not what the cover looks like that I read, but that is a cover of the book. And it was good. I gave it a 5. I mean, it was pretty good. It didn't have a lot of sex in it. I think it was only like one scene, and I think it was really, really tame. So that was really good, because I don't really like a lot of sex in books. So I mean, it was really good for a romance. Okay, so the next one that I read is this one, which was Waltzing with an Earl. Or Waltzing with the Earl, by Catherine Tinley. This one I gave a 5 also, because this one, once again, didn't have a lot of, and I don't know, this one might not have had any, and it won't let me get it any bigger. This might not have had any sex in it. But basically what this one is about, trying to remember how she ends up there. Okay, this Earl needs to marry for money, and this girl, she ends up coming to her cousin's house. I think her parents die or something. Or no, her father dies. That's what it is. Her mother's already dead. Her father dies. And so she goes to live with her cousins, and this Earl is kind of dating her cousin. You know how they dated back then. And so they end up getting invited to his estate, and they go, and things happen, and, you know, that kind of thing. So, I mean, it was really good. I really liked it, because he ends up trying to come to terms with do I go for somebody for money or do I go for somebody for love? And the whole book he's fighting with himself, and it's interesting how it turns out. So, but yeah, it was a pretty good book. So, the next one I read is The Graveyard Book, Volume 1. It was a graphic novel. And this is by Neil Gaiman, and I gave it a 5, and it was awesome. And I'm actually right now reading Volume 2. Or no, I finished Volume 2, actually. That's going to be in my next video. So this is the first half of this story. And it was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed it. It's basically about this boy, and his name through the book is Nobody Owens. And his parents, and I believe a sister, I think, get killed, murdered. And he ends up escaping, and he ends up in a graveyard, and the graveyard, the ghosts and the guardian, which is here, end up protecting him, and he grows up in this graveyard. And so this is the story of you know, his little adventures in this graveyard, and it's like I said, it's really good, interesting. You don't find out much in this one about why he was why his family was killed and why they're still after him. You do find out that, and it's interesting in the second book. So, but yes, I would highly recommend, and I gave that a 5 if I didn't already tell you that. Okay, the next one that I read is the second part. It's The Dead Toss Waves. This is another graveyard, or the Forest of Hands and Teeth, and it is by Carrie Ryan. I gave this one a 4. This one kind of, it's not the character that survives in the first one. It goes on to their future, and it's their daughter that's telling the story, and they're at the beach, and it's about a rebellion, and it's her rebellion against the rules and what happens when you rebel, and it kind of goes on, and it just, I mean, it's pretty good. It just it wasn't quite as good as the first one, and this one actually has another love triangle in it, and it's like, really? And it's like her attitude is just the same as the girl in the first one. It's like, really? But anyway, so, you know, but it's still good. And there's a reason for the title too, The Dead Toss Waves, and it actually refers to it in the book. So, but yes, like I said, I gave it a 4. Not as good as the first one, but definitely good. And then The Dark and Hollow Places, also by Carrie Ryan. It's the third book, and it does start off, and you continue to follow the characters from the first and the second, and everybody that survives from the first and the second. So can't really go into too many details in this one, because I don't want to give away anything, but I gave this a 5. There is a city that they talk about. You do end up in the city, and you get to see a little bit about that, and you get to see a little bit more of the world, the whole world, instead of just the forest. So I mean, it is good. It's, I don't know, it's good. I really enjoyed this, and I do want to read. Like I said, I think there's 2 or 3 more books in this world. I don't know if it follows any of these characters. I think it's just the world. And so I think one of them actually shows you how it became this way. So I really would like to read those books and continue a little bit more in this world, because I really enjoyed it. And you know me, I'm all for a good dystopian or zombie book. So the next one I read is A Monster Calls. I did give it a 4. And this is by Patrick Ness. I did enjoy it. This is the copy that I read. I did read it on ebook. It's about a little boy who's dealing with his mother's cancer, and a monster comes and visits him. and tells him stories. That's what this book is about. And it's sad and very inspiring, I think. I didn't like how it ended, though. It just seemed like it kind of ended, and I wanted a little bit more of a, I don't know what I wanted. I just wanted something more at the end. So, but anyway, it was still a good book. And I'm very glad that I finally read it. Then I have To the Moon and Back by Karen Kingsbury. This is a romance. I gave this one a 4. I'm trying to think how to explain this without explaining it, because there's a lot of twists and things in this one. Basically, it's about a little girl who gets adopted by this family. Her family, all but her, get killed. She goes to live with her aunt and uncle. It's a good story. I mean, it's, you know, and so they decide to go to the Oklahoma Memorial to get a tree, and then things kind of go on from there, because they meet somebody, and, or, you know, then the guy, this is the guy's part. He actually was a little boy in the Oklahoma bombing. He survived. His mother didn't. And he is 33, I think, in this. It seems like 33. I don't know why. Hopefully that's what it was. But he's a firefighter in Oklahoma City, and it's his story about what he's looking for. So it's a very good romance. No sex at all. It's just a very sweet story, and these two stories connect, and it just kind of goes from there. And it was really good, actually. And like I said, I gave it a 4. And then the very last book, that I read, I don't have that on there because I have it on here. Okay. I actually get to show you the physical copy because I haven't taken it back to the library. I'm actually doing that today. But it's Lock and Key. It's the very first volume of Lock and Key, and it's Welcome to Lovecraft, and it's written by Joe Hill, and it's the art is done by Gabriel Rodriguez, and I just love the art in this one. It's just very awesome, and it's just so good. But basically this story is about a family whose father gets killed. They have to go move in with their uncle in this house, and this house is really creepy, and it's big. It's got a lot of locked doors and keys to unlock these doors. And there's some very special keys, some keys that shouldn't be found, and a very dark entity that you learn about in the book. So it's creepy, and it's good, and the art is excellent. And I have actually finished the second. No, I haven't. No, I haven't read the second one. I'm going to read the second one soon. I have it. It's over there. Because I was thinking of the Graveyard book that I've read the second volume. So I'm going to continue this story. My library only had the first 2, so I'm going to have to figure out how to get the rest, because I think it's more than 2 volumes. And I might actually, this is my one I might actually invest in. So, but anyway, guys, those are the 14 books that I read in July. I'm sorry that I didn't have the actual physical books, but like I said, I'm going to try to video the books before I take them back to the library from now on, so that way you can see the physical books that I'm reading. And let me know if you've read any and have enjoyed any of these series, or interested in reading any of these series. You know, let's talk down in the comments. And please remember to be kind to each other, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!